I hear you. I hear you. Oh, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Oh. We not going. All the chicken got to because we not going. I feel it myself. I can see myself. All the things I do, yeah, not to myself. Don't hurry yourself. Bibi June asa. Amen asa. Oko Jone asa. Mero ne asa. Baba Bone asa. You can't say.
Listen, man, we'll turn it up tonight.
When to a pala to the club la walk. Some people bring a home full money, yosa. Some people might bring a hoya sufi, yosa. Are they with Charlie? See the Juna rocket. Somebody pound of money, got me feeling. You tell the old man to please stop calling. We not having caffeine. We all Saturday. We not going. All the chicken got to because we not going. I feel in myself. I can see myself. All the things I do, yeah, not to myself. Don't hurry yourself.
Tonight we outside, man. This is your boy Duke, the Strider JJ. It has been a minute, my people. I know. Let me tell you, man. It's good to be back on tonight. My voice is a little scratchy, but that's okay. I'll be all right. I'll warm up tonight for at least an hour or so. So while you were tuning in, go ahead and share the link for me. I rely on you to share the link. Because when you tell one person tells two person, and two turns to three, and then three turns to four, then everybody know that Duke is live. We ain't taking nobody hostage. Speaking the truth. Like we need to talk. But we outside tonight. Again, this is your boy Duke Strider JJ, man. People been asking for me. I've been here. Making my rounds and doing my thing. I'm not scared, man.
Bibi June asa. Mamene asa. Oko Jone asa.
We outside tonight.
Mero ne asa. Baba Bone asa. Somebody come asa.
Yes, sir. Listen, my people, what's up? What up? So, let's go ahead and share the link. Got an hour to be here. I got the new setup, attached the upper cameras here, so let's do this.
You are new, you are new, Nanyama, you do it. You are new, you are new, Nanyama, you do it. The way you do me, you love me, Momo. Money you do it. I go
Number 9, shout out to the man Jai Eddie. What's up, my brother? And number 9 there, that's the song, that's the party song. We get down with number 9. Yeah. Jizo. This song actually number 9 put Eric Jizo out there. Let's go and share the link. Let's get people on. Right.
And I dream a liquor.
And I dream my liquor.
And I dream a liquor.
We here.
I will make you shake up, but you.
That's what we're doing.
We have a fun. They saw that ballet song. Wake up this alone. I will not tell you it.
What would tell John?
I will not tell you it. You will tell yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You will know it. You will know it. Nyama till you do it. You will know it. You will know it. Nyama till you do it. I get lazy. Me and the mona. I don't know. I'm the mona. I get lazy. Me and the mona.
I was going to kill it. That's why I'm in on the remix. Bam bounce, baby. Let's move it, rock it, shake it, baby. That's it. I got number 9 in my system, no defense. My nigga, I'ma break down, no blood play when I'm striking. I got the board in the net where I stick in. Right now I'm on the charge with a proton. Slipping in the gym with a phone. So pretty girls come and shake your bum bum. Rock on me, number 9 in the building. Motherfucker, I was striking for breakers, scoring the simple and sticking my dingo. 2 minutes striker, but I am the best. Number 9, I'm better than the rest. Yeah.
You will know it. You will know it.
Listen, my people, I'm so excited to be back here tonight. Let me tell you, man, it has been a kind of tricky last couple of days, to tell you the truth. And but all in all, we continue to do what we can do to drive this narrative, to make sure we're educating our people, to make sure we're pushing the discussion a little further, to make sure that we are, talking about issues impacting. Now, tonight I won't be here. I won't be here for long, but I am just going to be here to talk about a few things, and then set the expectation for what I believe, is going to be happening over the next couple of weeks or so. So while you're here, do me a favor and go ahead and share the link, and let's see how best we can get a few people on, and then we'll be able to talk further. But until then, I want to say, as always, appreciate every one of you for for being on here, and supporting all that we do. This person here, I'm telling you, I'm on live, and he keeps trying to do something. Anyways, but it's always a good thing to to have people who really care about what you do and are willing to listening in, and chime into the conversation as well. Let me play some music in the background here while I'm trying to send the link to a few people here as well. Shout out to the man, Jad, Eddie, as always supportive of what we do. We share our podcast on YouTube, and a couple other stuff. We'll also have an account on Patreon, so if you want to stop there and actually support the contents that we do, shout out, check us out on Patreon as well. We're out there too, doing what we can do to bring some kind of light to the conversation. Anywho, let me just go further and say my voice is a little scratchy, and if you're looking at me and I'm not looking straight into the camera, I'm trying something new because, I thought the Mac had this kind of sophistication with the camera settings, and I thought it was going to be able to bring that kind of quality in terms of the visual. But unfortunately, I begin to sense that the Mac was not doing the job. So I'm actually doing a dual set camera here, and so this one picking up and the other one's here. So bear with me a little bit. So until then, let's go ahead and share the link. and get a few more people on, and then I'll talk for 35 minutes, and then we should be good.
Skinny boy, that cause trouble. We also told we not going home. All the chicken go to because we not going home. I feel him myself, I can see myself. All the things I do, yeah, I'm not to myself. So now we are Bibi June asa, Amene asa, Oko Jone asa, Merone asa, Papa Bone asa, Somali Papa asa. You can asa, and your boyfriend's asa. Not telling. When two of y'all ball to the club like what?
So when two all bought into the club, that's what you outside, your boyfriend outside too. That's it. That's the man. Skinny boy Ponto. Shout out Ponto, Liberian music for all. So listening. So I have to do a quick podcast tonight. Now, let me say something here. I know we've talked a lot, and a lot of people's been reaching out to me about unapologetic, right? Let me give you the little gist of what's been going on. So we've been working on actually improving our platform and trying to be consistent in terms of our radio broadcast. And there are certain things in terms of consistency with the network that we had. And so we have to just take a step back and put things together before we come back on the air. So hopefully, starting next weekend, next Saturday, we should be on unapologetic on multiple radio stations. That's the good news I wanted to share. And so we're going to be coming live to you next week, Saturday, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Unapologetic. And so watch out during the course of the week for information about the show. You don't want to miss it next week. The entire crew's coming back, and we're going to be coming with vengeance and actually talking about the issues. And honestly speaking, I think people have actually missed us being out there because we bring a different kind of feel to the show, to the podcast space, and the way in which we're countering the narratives, we're actually setting things right. I think it helps us to bring something different to the camera, to social media, to the conversation, especially our dynamic of politics. And it's something we're proud of, and we're glad that people recognize that, and they're following us. They're actually showing us that they really care about the kind of work that we're doing. On that note, let me say a few things here. So, it has been a tricky past couple of days, and it has been so tricky to the point that a lot of things have been going on. We heard the situation with Prince Johnson. And then we saw a lot of things going on with, negatives from Spoon FM and all of the BS. But I guarantee you, next Saturday, we'll be able to counter some of those myths and bring some sort of clarity to our people who are listening on radio and just letting them know what is right, appropriate for them. Anywho, so today, something interesting happened. And this thing is why I decided to do this quick podcast shortly, right? I decided to do it today because there's something that transpired today. So, quickly speaking, over the past couple of days, we have been telling you, and it's not only past couple of days, but we have been telling you that there is this thing here with the government Liberia, wherein the government Liberia, is restricted in terms of how they roam the space of, the United States. And this thing about, them staying within 25 miles radius as required, right? And so, yeah, actually, so, yeah, that comment came from our YouTube page. So appreciate it. Anyways, so today, we've been actually not today, but over the past couple of days, we've been telling you about everything that we've noticed in terms of the government, and how these officials are restricted as well. And listening, we're right. We're absolutely right. There's no fallacy to what we said or we're saying. The truth behind it. But let me just go ahead and play this real quick so we can get to the topic here.
So those that said I will confirm, yes, a United Nations building, you are wrong. So those that said I will confirm, yes, a United Nations building, you are wrong. I'm a citizen of the world. 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 Just came home. Tomorrow I'll be leaving for Liberia. Just came home. Tomorrow I'll be leaving for Liberia. Just came home. Tomorrow I'll be leaving for Liberia.
You know, that's pretty hilarious. So what you saw there was, a clip that was extracted, Save the State, on that particular, editing. So I must give them credit. And something here. So basically, here's what happened. The president of Liberia came and allowed his people to kind of record him to show that he left the grounds of the United Nations, the General Assembly, and he was actually a free man to go to his house and actually interact, and putting this propaganda out there that, oh, you guys say we're restricted, but yeah, we are, with this, that, the rest of it, right? So he's trying to prove a point to the people, but I want to bring the facts to you as they are, because some of the clarity I have are from people within CDC as well, secretly, that we talk to. So are those people under restrictions in terms of 25 miles radius? Yes, they are. It's true. They really are. But it is really kind of weird that the president goes out of his way to create an elaborate scheme of propaganda, and make it seem as if that, oh, the people are lying, they're doing this, and right, the rest of it, and what have you. But from what I learned, the reason why he did that is a lot of the people were complaining that, it's propaganda, we got to go, we do this too. When the people said we're this, we got to do something to be able to confuse them and all of that, right? So they came up with this elaborate scheme. And part of that scheme was to fly in the Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, whatever the hell they call it. But it's the award that he won while playing soccer from his Miami residence, and pull it within that same 25 miles radius in New York, that, he could actually get kind of photo ops and video ops, whatever it is, and just post it out there for propaganda. If you looked at the second video, I believe that the release, where he's taking that award out and looking so excited that he found this on. If you look in the box, you'll see that it was pretty wrapped, right? And it probably was shipped in by FedEx. So that particular box was actually shipped in by FedEx. If you see, it's freshly wrapped. All of the things, the phone things, are all in the box and stuff. You don't secure something like that. You understand me? If you're not shipping it, or if there's not a long flight. You understand me? So, and you can't tell me all these years it has just been sitting in a box wrapped up. It had to come from somewhere and put in there, securely wrapped up and packaged and sent to New York, so that it could form part of this president's entire propaganda scheme, CDC. So they did that. They brought the Ballon d'Or, or door, whatever the hell it is, and stuff. And he takes picture with it. He takes a video, and he's trying to prove a point. But the truth here is, though, they actually fell flat in terms of controlling the narrative of actual propaganda. Yes, how they fell flat. The president was still within the 25 miles radius, meaning that he was still within the restricted area. If the president felt that they really wanted to prove us wrong, or has something of some kind of magnitude to bring, he would have been in Miami. That's his official residence. The official residence of George Weah is not in New York City. It's actually outside of the 25 miles restriction. Now, when they put that out there, a lot of people who weren't really knowledgeable in terms of the locations and stuff, the proximities, and all of the things were in New York, kind of like were a little hesitant and like, man, these guys have done something. But the moment they knew that people have picked up that it's still within the confines of the 20-something miles, you see now CDCN started changing the propaganda. I want to read something to you quickly that was written by one of the organizers of the rally that CDCNs attended to welcome the president of Liberia. I want to show you how, right, these people are not only confused, but in addition, how these people are actually, a part of the reason why George Weah is an absolute failure. But it also highlights the importance of why we should continue to speak up, because at the end of the day, when we do that, we'll be able to hold these people accountable. So after the sense that, you know what, well, we're not falling for it. You still were in the 25 miles. Yeah, ha ha ha. Funny, the joke's on you. But we know exactly what's happening here. It is all a scam, like George Weah does. It's all propaganda. We know the truth. Now it comes. I want you to listen. So he comes and says, so Duke, how does a president visit another country? Is it at his or her own violation, or they have to be extended an invitation? Does the UNGA cover a private visitation for all the presidents that were invited? The big answer is no. So if any president, for example, decides to visit California, they will cover all their costs, and it will not easily be done until California agrees. George, we are any visiting president cannot just visit anywhere. You see what I'm getting with this, though? So now, after all, they've actually wasted time trying to prove a point. They got caught in another lie again. They've shifted quickly now to this propaganda wherein they're making it seem that the president can't just go anywhere, and this, that, the rest of it, people have to approve it, it has to be covered, and all of that BS. But if you thought that was the reason, why did you not bring up this point years ago? If you felt that this was the reason why the president was being, was not moving around, and all of these speculations have been going on for years, this is not the only time that we've heard it. Why is it that it became important for you to only say that right now instead of then? You see the problem? You see what I'm talking about? It's because that what they got cut in the game was all lies. These people know that CDC has to continue defending George Weah. CDC will have to continue defending George Weah because there is something we're telling the truth and telling a lie. You see, when you tell the truth, you don't have to consistently prove a point. But when you're going to the extent where you're trying to refine lies, right? You've got to consistently refine that lies and come up with ways to defend what you're saying and put people under the pressure like this is what it is and this is not what you're saying. What you see here is a clear-cut attempt for them to change the narrative in terms of this 25 miles radius propaganda of, let me not say propaganda, thing that was circulating on social media. They attempted to do that by having the basement party within the hotel. But it didn't work because at the end of the day, that narrative stayed on. People didn't bite for it. People say, you know what, you're having party in basement party, they restricted and stuff. So then they say, okay, what's the other scheme here? The next one here, we're going to go down somewhere in New York that's within 25 miles of the restriction and just go ahead and put this thing out, do a quick video and blah, 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 and go ahead and kill that. Again, it backfired because everything that they did up to that point showed that there was not only desperation, there was an attempt for them to go up and prove a point, but the point that they was trying to make did not really resonate to the people. The only people that think at peace were seditious or some seditious. But it didn't really catch the eyes of anybody in the opposition who seriously knows that the president of Liberia is a joke. And the Congress of Democratic Change is also a joke. So they got caught in the lie. But let me just say this about people, because I got a lot of work to do, and I just wanted to do this podcast real quick. You see, there is one thing about trying to push propaganda and put people under the impression that things are working or things are fine. And there's another thing to really look at what you're trying to portray and say, truthfully speaking, things are not okay. And those who are responsible for making decisions beyond the president, beyond the government of Liberia, understands what they're dealing with, and the minds have been made up in terms of how they will approach this government. The Weah administration is not fooling the United States. They're not fooling the international community. They're fooling themselves. They're not fooling other world leaders. George Weah and his people are fooling themselves. Because what's going to happen is in a couple of weeks, a month, or whatever it be, there will be another round of sanctions again. And it's going to hit them hard. There will be tough law from the international community. There will be more pressure on the government of Liberia. Because at the end of the day, our international partner understands that these people do not get it. What kind of leadership or what kind of government brings people into the United States, the land of the free, the country that values every aspect of human dignity, and then have a sitting representative, an ignorant one, to stand in the streets of New York and chant and say demeaning things, degrading things against people who choose to be different, especially in the United States, wherein corporate exec and powerful men are being brought to their knees by discriminating against people. The government sits there in the spotlight amongst these people and disrespect the United States and its principle. And you think that you're doing anybody harm. You're not doing anybody harm. You're doing yourself harm because it was another stupid mistake. So citizens can do everything to fool themselves and fool the people who follow George Weah. But you're not doing enough to fool people who know, who understand what you're up against. That's what I said. The whole thing is comedy. It's a joke. It's funny that they continue to do it, but it doesn't surprise me because this is a pattern being exhibited, a continued pattern by the government of Liberia. We see these things happening in Liberia. Every time the government does wrong, when we raise these issues, they come back, they take pictures to want to justify. The same way they try to bring propaganda on the people's soil. The same way they try to bring propaganda on the people's soil. That was a failed strategy. It backfired on them again. So because it backfired, they have to find another lie now to bring out lie and try to push another propaganda. But you know what? Fool me once. Okay. Fool me twice. You know how the story goes. You know how the story goes. So the backs, they've been cut again with the pants down. The desperation in these people, the desperation in the presidency, the desperation in seditious, all of these people don't know what they're doing. George Weah and his people are completely clueless. And they're not fooling anybody else but themselves. The most important issue in Liberia today that you can ask any other person, including those world leaders who are serious about the money that they're pouring in countries like Liberia. If you're listening to the UN ambassador's speech, what has changed? Well, all the resources that these people have poured into governance and into developing Liberia or sustaining Liberia after 14 years of civil war. What have they changed? Absolutely nothing. They know that the Weah administration is the most corrupt government in the entire sub-region. The United States understands that there's so much criminals amongst the Weah-led administration. They know that. That's why they sanctioned Nat McGill, one of the most powerful figures within the CDC, closer to the president. You don't sanction Nathaniel McGill and you think that the president of Liberia is not equally corrupt. No, you don't do that. Let me take you back here for some of those seditious who just don't get it. You remember when we're talking about all the sanctions and all the things, international pressure? They went and started showing pictures about the executive mansion where they went and actually, rededicated after the construction work. And they started showing foreign dignitaries, and they were trying to put this impression that they have this kind of powerful relationship and cool relationship with the diplomatic corps. Then you saw Nathaniel McGill coming here meeting with Republican representatives, and then they hired, all of these people and stuff to go ahead and lobbyists to go ahead and push their interests. And they were arrogant, taking pictures and showing things and trying to put people under the impression as if they had control of the situation. And then the sanction came against Nathaniel McGill, and it became serious. The next round of sanctions is going to cover a majority of them. Some of the people near George Weah who think that they're so powerful, some of the same ones who are orchestrating all of these deceptive strategies and trying to make it seem as if this government has got some kind of control of what's coming. But it's not going to work because every day George Weah opens his mouth or seditious opens their mouth, they learn a valuable lesson that they're not smarter than the people who created rhetoric, propaganda, and politics. That the bunch of mules, the bunch of rookies playing a game with veterans who understand this particular arena of politics. You want to show yourself with all the overwhelming, all the issues that you're facing. You sit there in New York City and you start chanting anti-gay slogans with your lies and stuff, demeaning the rights of the United States, the same values the people have in the country, or certain lawmaker. And you know what? This is a recurring theme. It follows a pattern, like I say. This mimics the Weah administration and everything it stands for in the middle of New York City, and start disrespecting other people's rights, pushing lies, deception, and propaganda. They'll pay for it. These people can do all they want to do. The Weah administration can try to put this thing out here, this facade whatever this call it, this pretense that everything is well. George Weah will be re-elected again. Listen, what have we not heard from them? We heard George Weah trying to feel so confident. So confident. During the election, when the CPP put the candidate in Maserati, he came and danced. He danced and all the people, the zombie dance, you remember that? They got massively flopped. This in New York City, oh, I will win re-election again. Listen to me, my people. Don't listen to George Weah and seditious because they have no clue what's about it. Mark my words. Trouble is coming for the administration again. The first round of session tension taught them no lesson. The second opportunities that start to blow that they continue to be defiant, disrespectful, don't value human rights, walk free with corruption and all of the nonsense. They will pay for it so dearly. So let me just say this here to wrap this up. I've been feeling well, but I'm trying to get back on my feet again. And I will say this, you will see us next week on Unapologetic, on radio, of course, talking to our people and educating them. But let me say this again to y'all. Don't pay attention to the foolishness that's coming from seditians or George Weah people. Nobody listens to them. Look, the United States understands that even Donald Trump, that stood as second president of the United States of America, started creating this rift and playing with the issues of race, with minorities, inciting violence. The United States understood that even Donald Trump had people who supported him. George Weah would definitely have seditionists who support him, but it doesn't mean that the United States does not understand that this is the worst president ever, most incompetent president, and the president that's actually conducting a lot of mischievous practices in the sub-region. The United States is not clueless of the fact that the government of Liberia is irresponsible. And there's been a lot of questionable things that's happening under the watch of George Weah. The United States is not going to overlook that. The United States does not care about few people who wear stupid berets and stuff and blue t-shirts and sing stupid chants in front of whatever it is and whatever they're trying to put out there. It doesn't care about that. It understands that even Idi Amin, the most brutal dictator on earth, have people to support them. But what the United States stands for is justice for all men, equality, human rights. It stands for people who are being abused and looked down upon, being violated by the government. It doesn't care about the few individuals who are making noise in defense of all the things that are wrong in that country. When the United States takes action, it takes action because there's gross human rights violation. In this case, the president of Liberia faced the bill. His government faced everything that's anti-United States, including what they showed in New York City when they started talking down on other people on the right and demeaning them, something that's highly supported by the Weah administration. Check mark. They're going to be punished for it. And I'm telling you, at the end of the day, mark my words, like I said, I've been on this journey since 2017, and I've told you guys before. These people continue to dig a hole for themselves. And I'm telling you, the punishment's coming. The time is coming when they'll be held accountable for their actions. There's another heavy round of sanctions coming. There's another sanction or another warning coming through the National Elections Commission. I'm telling you, George Weah should be lucky if he even has the balls to stand in the next election. Because at the end of the day, the evidence is all of the research done, all of the information that's been gathered on the Republic of Liberia via the office of the presidency, and all of those people who were in government, shows that this government does not fit into the overall global policy. They're corrupt, they're dangerous, and if something like that continues to operate in Liberia, the world risk of having another terrorist cell under the watchful eyes of George Weah and his band of thieves. So, in closing, my people, next week, we will be back on Unapologetic, and we're going to go ahead and put the announcement out there with all of the information. It is going to happen. Unapologetic will be back on air. I have not spoken in the past couple of days because I've been under the weather, but I'm starting to feel a little bit okay. It's cool. But, at the end of the day, let me tell you this. Let me just let you know we're coming back and strong. So don't listen to those people who are trying to put propaganda that backfired on them again. George Weah and his people are not leading. They are actually setting the bad precedent for the rest of the country and the entire sub-region. The United States know that. The man was on a restricted visa. He was within the 25 miles radius. We all know it was all about propaganda. It backfired on them, and they're now cut down with the pants again in another lie. At the end of the day, truthfully speaking, we know for a fact that Liberian people will not be fooled into thinking that this president deserves another 6 years. Because at the end of the day, what matters the most will be the sanity, the sanctity of our people. We cannot risk a worthless government that believes in murdering people because they think that they're the only ones that's supposed to have the final say. We cannot risk Liberia into the hands of a corrupt individual who thinks that governance is all about enriching himself and his few thieves. We must stand up to these crooks, these cronies, these jokers who have no mandate to lead the people of Liberia. The only thing they prioritize sitting in New York City in the basement of a hotel and continuing to push the negative propaganda and trying to lie to the Liberian people. I'm telling you, trust me when I say this. Trouble is coming for the administration. Second round of sanctions will be announced soon. And when it drops, some of you will know that we're off of business in here. On that note, unapologetic, we'll be here next week. I want to say thanks to all of you for following us. I appreciate you. I appreciate myself. I appreciate the team. Tonight, I just wanted to hop on a little bit and just talk about our people, and what we see in terms of transforming Liberia. And on that note, this is your boy Duke and Strider JJ with a quick podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say shout out to all of you, the man Ja Eddie, Rosalind Hicks. I see people say, who this other guy? I'm Duke and Strider JJ. If you don't know me, then you need to do research. My charger by Ponto. Let me tell you, my people, when you hear the joke, George Weah and his people got cut down in lies and deception again. But we're here to let our people know that those criminals cannot go free, and that their attempt today to fool our people into thinking that they're not under the watchful eyes and being monitored by the U.S. government will sort of follow suit. We got them right where we want them, my people. Those rogues will not go free. George Weah one term is commencing. We're going to make sure that this man not only exit the presidency of the Republic of Liberia, but he and all of these rogues will be held accountable for what they've done to our people. Until then, my people, I appreciate all of you, okay? I don't want to go, but I got to leave. Y'all have a good day. Duke and Strider JJ, unapologetic again. We'll be back next weekend. We're going to have some real cool information for you. Let me leave you with this quick commercial. I hope I was able to add my voice to the conversation today. Duke and Strider JJ is my name. Wow.
See the way you make me feel, oh my God. Like you can feel my battery. Oh my.
All day, Liberia this, Liberia that. Me back, I will not give up on Liberia. I will keep on talking and fighting hard to make Liberia a better place. I said, Flomo, what happened you talking all by yourself? Pardon? I am tired. I am tired of the people who can be saying Liberia can't change. So they finish giving up on Liberia. Liberia is all of our country. So we must come together and elect the best person to lead Liberia.
These sanctions speak poorly about how he has continued to perform in carrying out the duties to manage our country and its resources. The sanctions are therefore serious and should be responded to seriously. As such, President Weah's mere suspension of his officials and close confidants is not good enough to address the injuries caused to the Liberian people by the actions of these individuals. Nor is it enough to exonerate the president from the growing public impression of his participation in the commission of these high crimes.
We're not even enjoying. We won't suffer and die again and say we're going to go cash our food. Well, what we have can't be built.
Call me Monami. Ching ching chang, you made me speak Chani. See the way I you can bring the energy. I wanna plug you in my phone, oh my charger. See the way you make me feel, oh my charger. Like you can feel my